Thank you, Bill. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to everybody. We will call to order the regular meeting of the Lawrence County Commissioners, today being Tuesday, March 28th of 2023. We welcome everybody who is with us today, either in person or viewing us online. I'd like to note that if you do have any type of an electronic communication device, if you'd be kind enough to put it on silent or vibrate, we'd appreciate that courtesy. We always start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and then if you'd remain standing for a moment of silence, we'd appreciate that. Joe, could you lead us in the pledge, please?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing. We'll have a brief moment of silence. Thank you, everybody. For us to establish a quorum, we'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel? Here. Commissioner Vogel?
Here, we have that quorum. It takes two to do anything as a board of commissioners. There's an old joke that you have to have at least 2 votes even to buy a box of paper clips here at the courthouse. Happy to note that a week from today, assuming all goes well, Commissioner Burek will have been sworn in and seated here. The swearing-in ceremony, based on a court order that we received from President Judge Motto, is the ceremony is to be held next Monday, April 3, at 8:30 in the morning in courtroom number 1, and that's a public ceremony, and we're looking forward to welcoming former and soon-to-be Commissioner Brian Burek. Moving on to the explanation of procedures, we do have 2 opportunities for public comment during the course of the meeting. We have an opportunity right now in a few moments, and then we'll reopen it for public comment prior to adjournment of the meeting. If you do have a public comment or question, we ask that it be related to county government matters. If it's a state issue, we suggest you talk to your state legislators. If it's a federal issue, likewise with your federal representatives. If it's a local city, borough, or township issue, we would refer you to your local city, borough, or township. But if it is a county matter, we would certainly welcome your questions or comments. Also would ask that you try to limit your time to about 5 minutes or so out of respect for the other people that are here. Next item on the agenda would be row officer reports and comments. There are no row officers with us this morning, so that does take us to public comment. And I will open the floor to anybody who wishes to make a public comment. Mrs. Butchie, good morning, welcome.
Good morning, sorry I was late.
Quite all right, we just started.
Is it okay if I do it just from here? I think I'm loud enough, I think you can hear me. So I wanted to come this morning, I actually looked on your agenda last night. I wanted to make public comment. I was away when the commissioners made approval for Neshannock Township to receive the ARPA funds. And I just wanted to come and formally thank you on behalf of the supervisors and the residents that are part of the sanitary sewer project, because without this funding, it would be really costing this residents a lot of money. And it's very appreciated. That's one item. While I was on your agenda, I discovered there were a couple items that I wanted to talk about. One is the item about the $5. Is that the plan to repeal that?
That is the intent.
That's the intent. So, as a township official who has benefited from that, I know initially that was very controversial, and it seemed as though people in the community were upset about it. I can tell you I just re-registered my vehicles in March, and was thrilled to make the payment knowing that, and I believe it's 100% of that money goes to municipalities in Lawrence County for the roads. As you know, I was a secretary treasurer since 1987. I have watched the liquid fuels money go up, and now I've started to see it come back down. Without the funding that we have received very graciously through that annually, it's going to take a toll. And I'm seeing our roads are in worse condition every year. it seems like, and I know people say, oh, the winter wasn't hard. I just saw the article in the paper that the winter isn't hard. Our roads have got so many potholes and they need some, base repair. Without being able to do those reconstructive projects with that money, it's tough on the communities. And I just wanted to voice my opinion and let you know that, I'm in support of it. I believe the other two supervisors from Neshannock are in support of it. And I don't know, if I wouldn't have been going on your agenda to look to see when your comment period was, I wouldn't have known that was on there. And my concern is, do all the other municipalities know that that money is going to go away if the vote is taken and it's decided upon? And one last thing, on your agenda, I just want to voice my opinion while I'm here. I see that the item is back on the agenda. You had tabled the appointment to the, I think you're setting the Economic Development Authority for Lawrence County on the agenda for today. Is that correct?
It's still on the table.
It's
Yeah,
on the
because
table
it had
today.
been tabled,
Right.
because I believe there was a motion on the floor for municipalities to have either a seat on the board or have a say on the board. Back when Loretta and Morgan and I believe Dan when you first started working
Right.
together back in 2020, the Neshannock supervisors came to see you. One of our concerns was economic development. And, we've done a lot of things to help improve economic development. I think we're trying,
Yes.
but it goes forward and it goes backwards. So the concern I have is we never really do get a seat at that table.
Mhm.
I'm very thankful that Commissioner Spillvogel has a seat at that table right now.
Yes.
But the other townships, municipalities, and city really don't have a say there. We've tried to get to their meetings, we can't do that. And so I'm just voicing our opinion from Neshannock Township that it would be very helpful if something was at least, if you're appointing them as your Lawrence County Economic Development Authority.
Right.
That's one thing, but it would be great if there could be a condition that the townships have a say, or at least a seat on the board or a liaison to at least be there and see what's happening. Because, sometimes they make decisions that affect our municipalities without us even being there. And I think that, for years, we have tried to get a seat at that board and have been unable to do that. And I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you.
By the way, for the record, that was Leslie Butchie, who is the member of the Neshannock Township Board of Supervisors. I neglected to note that when you do, if you do have a comment or question, please identify yourself for the record. Thank you.
I
Anybody?
apologize for that.
No, I should have said that at first, not your fault. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah.
Mr.
ahead.
Kennedy?
Dan Kennedy, Chairman of Wilmington Township Supervisors. I also looked at this yesterday, and then I started doing some research and started looking and thinking, why would we do this, number one? We have come to the point in our township, and Leslie also, that we apply for funds for this every year, and $400,000 of that comes from that fund. Without that, we couldn't do the stuff we do in Wilmington Township. Since I come on board, my team is there. We've had to replace 2, and now we're working on the 3rd big culvert. They're $180,000 a piece. Wilmington Township has an $800,000 budget. Without your help, we couldn't do this. And without this money, we couldn't do this stuff. We'd still have a road closed in Wilmington Township because we couldn't do it. There's 67 counties in Pennsylvania. 27 since this was done, and I thought I saw somewhere 2017 this was enacted. 27 counties have taken this and did this, 2013, I'm sorry. So out of 67, we have 27 counties already adopted this. Nobody has ever taken it away. We'll be the first.
No, we'll be the second.
From what I had.
No, one other county.
Oh, repealed, I'm sorry. Luzerne County did do that. repealed effective 1/1/22. But my thing is, you have a meeting coming up on April 19th with all the municipalities. Why aren't we bringing this up there if you want to repeal it and do it? If everybody says, yes, we agree with it, then I don't have a problem with it. But I'm gonna find out, you're gonna find out, the townships are gonna say, no, do not do this. This is a big mistake for all of us. We need to have infrastructure, and this is one way to have it. Let's find a place, some other place, if we want to take money back. There's other places we can cut the budget and not cut this. But my two supervisors this morning, I talked to them both, Brian and John Zanger,
Yeah.
and they both said, get down to the meeting. They were for it. The other thing about the Economical Development Board, I've been there 3.5 years now. Not one person from that board has showed up for our township to even talk to us. So to me, not real happy with it still. You know, we had that conversation a year ago and they've had a year to show up. And not one person's ever showed up. We're not the biggest township and we don't have the most, but we do have stuff going on out there and we could use their help, especially right now. So that's my opinion. I'm gonna voice it. Thank you.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
That's why it's public comment.
Other public comment? Lois? Good morning.
Do you want me up here or do you want me
You're
here?
fine.
Okay. Lois Winter McElravy from the Lawrence County Humane Society. Good morning. Thank you for having this opportunity. I have lots of notes. We sent you did you all receive this letter? Did you get a chance to look at it?
Yes.
Especially the second page that explains a lot of the things that we do for the county. We have an animal shelter I'm sure everyone's familiar with. Hopefully you're all familiar with the Lawrence County Humane Society. We've got the best animals. Anyway, we're here just for a follow-up on this letter. We've been an essential part of Lawrence County since 1953. We're talking 70 years here that we have serviced this county, taking care of all the animals. The county needs us and needs all the services that we provide currently to the county at no cost to them, to you, to the county. We are the only shelter in Lawrence County to take in stray, abandoned, abused, neglected, and unwanted dogs and cats. Where would these animals go if we weren't there? Most counties, some counties, and I haven't done the survey, counties in Pennsylvania and almost every county in Ohio has a dog pound that brings in, it's a high kill shelter, it's an open door shelter where all these animals can go. And then in addition, they have a humane society or a rescue or something. This county has nothing. We are it. We are actually saving the county a lot of money by taking in all these stray animals. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, no-kill shelter. We are always full. We are respectfully requesting some financial support from the county. We don't receive any federal, state, local government money. We receive no money from the national organizations like the Humane Society of the United States, SPCA, American Humane Association. None of that money filters down to us. Every dime that we have has been hard-earned through private donations, through fundraisers that we work our butts off for. And the adoption fees, we do charge an adoption fee, but that barely covers the expenses. We spay, neuter all the animals, we vaccinate them, we take them to the vet, they're all vet checked. We microchip them, we test them for feline leukemia, feline AIDS, heartworm, Lyme disease, all that. We address all their and treat all their medical needs such as broken bones, dental procedures, antibiotics if they do test positive for Lyme, testing for heartworm, et cetera, et cetera. Basically, we have outgrown our building. Our building's been there we remodeled in the 80s, but we only have 23 dog kennels and probably about 30 cat cages, cat little condos. But the number of animals that are coming in, we just can't accommodate all of them. We actually have a waiting list for dogs to come in, owner surrenders to come in, because we just don't have enough room. Inventory changes daily is my favorite saying. There's a lot coming in for every 2 dogs that we adopt out, 3 more come in the same day. So we're just constantly have a turnover of these animals, and we're just over capacity at all times. Other shelters we reach out to, but they're all in the same boat. Butler Humane Society, Beaver, Angels for Animals in Youngstown, Animal Friends down at Camp Horn. We even reach out to the Anna Shelter up in Erie if we have problems, and they're all full too. So these animals, I mean, this is my heart and soul, this whole shelter. We're overflowing. We need a new shelter. Absolutely, bottom line, we need a new shelter. We do have property right across from Flaherty Ball Field. We purchased 22.5 acres. So we've got lots of room. Where we are right now, we have no room to expand. And the cages are deteriorating. They're rusting. We're desperate. We need to get a new shelter. We would like to ask for the county's support in some way to help us. We're looking at several million right now. Just to get the engineer to get the ball rolling is $75,000. We just got the estimate the other day for that. We have to hire an architect. It's going to be expensive, and we're going to do it right. We would like to get some kind of a medical room that maybe we could get vets to come in to spay and neuter. Right now, we take all these animals out to be spayed and neutered. I think we do a heck of a job for what our budget is. But I know the county has some extra money from the CARES dollars for the American Rescue Plan. We've seen that.
Is word getting out?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to use your attention a little bit. I know you're nervous speaking. So you found out, huh?
Yes, we did. And we heard that some of them have received like maybe 250,000, which would go a long way for us. But we would appreciate your support. Like I said, we are saving you money from not having your own county-run shelter. And I've been on the board since 1978, and Dan was even on our board for a little while also. We have a whole different shelter now, a whole different organization from what you remember. We are a no-kill, and we work very, very hard to earn every dime that we can, and we still run at a loss. That's why we're a nonprofit. But we would appreciate any and all support that you could provide to us. I know you have helped us in the past a little bit, but we're desperately needing a new shelter, bottom line. Do you have any questions from the letter that we sent out?
If I may, okay. Just, you mentioned that do you not qualify to get any monies from national organizations or?
We're researching grants. I mean, there are grants out there.
I mean, you mentioned like the
SPCA.
SPCA.
Yeah, Humane Society United States, none of that money comes to us. Now, they may have
Is there a
grants.
particular reason? Okay, so then maybe it's through grant funding and you would be
Yeah.
able to apply for something.
And I know PetSmart Charities,
Okay.
we
I was
have
just curious.
a
that's
good
all.
association with PetSmart because we have cats out there in the Newcastle store and the Boardman store up for adoption. But we are researching all kinds of grants, but we're gonna need millions to build this, to build it right. And if you've ever been to some of these big ones, like Animal Friends down at Camp Horn Road, oh my gosh, it's a gorgeous shelter, but we're in no way near that volume of animals. But we took in 269 dogs last year in 2022. And about 100 cats. Most of them were adopted, some were returned to the owners, et cetera. I think we do a good service for Lawrence County. There's nowhere else for these animals to go except our shelter. So unless you have big backyards, we're in. But we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for your consideration.
Sure.
Thank you, Lois. We are in receipt of your letter. My expectation is that, again, once Commissioner Burek is settled in, we'll reach out and hopefully you and members of your board can sit down with us and we can have some further conversations.
Absolutely.
We have a number of requests. Wilmington Township, for example, has a request in front of us right now. And our expectation is once Mr. Burek is settled in, we'll sit down and have a similar conversation. But we appreciate very much all that you do.
Thank you.
I know that many, many years you've put into this. I know that it's a passion of yours.
Yes, it is.
We appreciate all that you and your staff and your board do.
Thank you.
We will be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that.
Any other questions or public questions, public comments? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Lori Sneezik. I'm here with the Humane Society as well. I just want to reiterate everything that Lois had said. And to let you know, we would really appreciate your help. We would invite you to come to the shelter and kind of see for yourself how things, are run and, and show you that we are in need of a larger, better facility. It's just not conducive anymore. It's been there since 1953?
53 is when it started.
Yeah.
I remember when I was on
Yeah.
the police department, we did have that ability to drop strays off. If we got a call or on a dog or a cat or something.
Yeah.
It was in the 80s.
Yeah.
I know you've been there all that time.
Long
Yeah,
time.
in the same building. So,
Yes.
we're desperate for an
The road is
update.
still accessible anymore to go straight.
It
down,
isn't. There's a lot of potholes on it.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's the city.
Lori, I didn't realize you were on the board.
Yeah, well, I'm newly on the board.
Good.
Actually, I haven't even been on there a year, so that's why I let Lois do most of the talking.
You're a good
But-
person.
Yeah, but we would appreciate you, entertaining our letter, and we hope that we can get together with you and discuss it further.
If I can add one more thing and then we're out of here. May 7th, that's a Sunday from noon to 5. Please come out to Cascade Park. Here's a little advertising for us. We have our annual Homeless to Home fundraiser, and this raises all the money for our medical fund that can take care of these animals when they have special needs. There was a dog that came in, I'll give you a real brief, black lab that came in from the police, had a broken leg, broken pelvis. We called the owner and he said, need surgery? Don't want her, put her down. We got her fixed for, it was a couple $1,000s that came out of our medical fund. And she is now my therapy dog. I take her to the hospital, et cetera. I adopted her and she's, what our medical fund does for these animals is essential. So come out to Cascade Park, May 7th, and we have a huge basket raffle, and we need to make lots of money for our medical from noon to 5. Pasta dinner, bake sale, raffle. So come on out.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm
Thank
done.
you both.
Thank
I'm
you.
very
done.
much. Other public comment? Mrs. Butchie?
Just, do they happen to have a copy of the letter that I could take back to my community?
You know what, I think I actually
Sure,
do.
I have it right here.
Do you have it?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nelson.
Amy?
I just want to add to when you said you're
This is
looking.
Amy McKinney, who's our county planning director.
Hi.
When you leave, I can grab my card for you real quick, but there are a lot of grant opportunities for a lot of like dog food. Like I know Pedigree does a foundation, you can apply, and they're for you guys or strictly for
Okay.
501c3 animal rescue shelters. I know Bissell does one as well. Every little bit helps, but.
Right, we're looking
Absolutely.
into all
Yeah,
those.
so just keep that in mind. But if you need any assistance, we can help if we can.
Awesome. Thank you, Amy.
Not with money, I don't have money.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again. Any other public comments or questions at this time? Once again, we'll reopen prior to adjournment for any additional comments or questions that folks might have. Thank you all. Moving along, in our packet is are the warrant registers, which is a listing of the checks that have been cut through the controller's office. And they are dated March 15, 21, 22, and 24. Loretta, I'll give you a moment or two to look them over, and whenever you're ready, I could entertain a motion to accept these documents. They're available here for anybody who wishes to see them.
I did have a chance to review them earlier too. I don't see anything out of the ordinary, so I will move that they be accepted.
Thank you. I'll offer the second. Any other comments or concerns? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The warrant registers are accepted. Also in our packet are the minutes of the March 14 public meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Give you a moment or two to look it over, Loretta, and whenever you're ready, we could take a motion to adopt the minutes.
So moved.
Second, any discussion about the minutes?
No.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We move on to Commissioner reports and comments. And Loretta, you get to go first today.
I do, very good. I have two things, and both community oriented. One is a proclamation that we have done for the oneness. It is a committee, a group of people that gather together, that there's an event that will happen this year. It will be April 30th at the cathedral, but more on that in the weeks to come. But I just wanted to just read a little bit of the proclamation explaining what oneness is. And I think it is very, very timely, considering that we just had another shooting in a school in Nashville, Tennessee. And it is that oneness is a concept and a project that was created out of recognition of the tragedies of the past few years in schools, places of worship, and in communities throughout our country. Our mission statement proclaims the message of oneness is to come together as a community to encourage, inspire, and recognize unified acts of kindness, acceptance, and goodwill in Lawrence County and beyond. That being said, on April 30th, Oneness will celebrate our community with a free family-oriented event. The theme this year is "You Can Get There From Here." And so with that, if we could proclaim that April be Oneness Month, that's what I have for that.
Hey, very
Okay.
good.
And then one other thing that I want to continue as much as I can every week to bring this up is that there, right now through the United Way, there are two events that are happening in relation to COVID-19. One is a COVID-19 hero nomination, and it could be for anybody, a grocery clerk, a healthcare provider, an administrator, a parent, any type of group or someone that has done something, whether it be a little bit out of the ordinary or a lot out of the ordinary, to whether advance the knowledge of COVID-19, to assist anything dealing with COVID-19. It is a very, very simple process that you would just submit a hero nomination online. And it is, you go to the United Way of Lawrence County, to their website. I won't go into all of it from there, but you could get it at uwlawcty.org. And it's just unitedwayoflawrencecounty.org. And that is ongoing and happening. It's just small gift certificates will be given out to the drawings that happen. There's 10 a month. Just a little way to say thank you to those people that did go out of their way for it. And at the same time, there will also be a special recognition for those family members who have lost people to COVID-19, almost as a way to just recognize honor those deaths that happen in some small way. There will be a program sometime later this spring to do that. So I just want to get those words out. And if you're looking for more information, again, the United Way is who's handling that. The number of the United Way is 724-658-8528. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Loretta, very
Okay.
much. Thank you very much. Commissioner reports and comments. It's my turn. As I noted, we will have Mr. Burek here a week from today, and we look forward to having him come on board. And I didn't have really an opportunity to say a whole lot in terms of reassuming the role of chair of this board. I had served in this capacity a number of years ago, and with former Commissioner Boyd having moved on, we had to get another chairman, and I wasn't here that day, but you voted.
Yes, we did.
If you put me back in here. I just want to reiterate how I view the role as the chair of this board. And we had a staff meeting. I see the warden here and Amy. We had a staff meeting a week or two ago. And I pointed out, and I want to make it very, very clear, I view the role of the board chair as one is primarily the responsibility of conducting these meetings. I do want to point out that the chair of a board of commissioners does not have any greater authority than the other two commissioners. I have some additional responsibilities. There are certain documents that only the board chair has to sign. But when it comes to the authority of each member of this three-person board, we equal one another. I have no greater authority than Loretta, and I will have no greater authority than Mr. Burek. And I want to keep that point in mind as we move forward. And just remind everybody again that one commissioner can say whatever they wish to say. We're all entitled to our opinions. But at the end of the day, it still takes at least two commissioners to do anything in this organization. And you witness that when we take formal votes. You got to have two votes to pass anything. So I'm mindful of that, and I'll continue to be. And if I go off track, I hope you'll set me straight.
Okay,
Thank you.
duly noted.
Under new business, Mr. Grippo is with us today. Good morning. If you'd like to come
I'm
up.
gonna give him a nameplate.
I swear this is my last one.
What resolution?
Oh, how many times?
96, thank you. Mike is with Children and Youth Services, and you have a proposed resolution for us this
Yeah,
morning.
we already have a current contract with City. And they opened up a Hope House, and a couple weeks ago, we were in a predicament where we couldn't find no one to take this job. Actually acting out. They were the only one to take it, so he's currently there now.
Okay,
So this is to amend the contract to add the Hope House.
And to be clear, and correct me if I'm wrong, the organization's name, City Mission, is not affiliated or connected to the City Rescue Mission
No,
here in Newcastle. Is that correct?
right,
They're two separate and distinct entities.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
just didn't want anybody to be confused
right.
that this is a different organization. Thank you for confirming that. Loretta, questions for Mike?
nope.
Okay, this is proposed resolution 96. We thank you for bringing it to our attention. Is there a motion to adopt it?
So moved.
I will second. Any comments or questions? We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Bowman?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you very much.
I think.
Mike, thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Mike.
Appreciate you joining us.
See you next week.
Mr. Germaini, good morning.
Sir,
Would you
good morning.
care to come up? We have a couple items on the agenda from the Voter Services Office, and I do want to make note of the fact that according to state law, we are required to have a Board of Elections. And in most years, the Board of Elections consists of the three sitting county commissioners. However, when any county commissioner is seeking elective office, they must step aside from the Board of Elections. And this calendar year, that has happened. Both Commissioner Spielvogel and I are seeking office. And as such, we are no longer on the Board of Elections. The President Judge is given the authority to appoint individuals to serve on the Board of Elections. And Judge Motto has appointed Frank McCary, who is the maintenance director here at the courthouse, as well as Attorney Jack Seltzer. Now, when Mr. Burek assumes office next week, since he is not a candidate for public office, he will be the third member of the Board of Elections. The reason Mr. Germaini is here today, it's my understanding that the Board of Elections met earlier today.
Yes, sir.
And you had proposed the moving of a couple of polling places, which I believe they took action on. I'll let you explain that. But the
Yes.
reason that it has to come before us is that there are contracts involved between the county and the organizations that will be hosting polling places.
Yes.
And the authority to enter into contracts still does rest with the Board of Commissioners.
Right.
So could you give us some background on these two, I hope you have them in front of you, the two locations that the election board is moving these sites to?
Well, let me back up with that because the Shannick 3 that we're changing to that First Alliance Church is the only one that we have a written lease agreement.
Okay,
Washington Alliance has just been how it's been before. I don't have an
Yeah,
agreement.
there's already a polling place there, is that it? We're
Correct,
just
yes.
adding another
Yes,
polling
yeah.
location.
So
Right.
what we're gonna talk about is the lease agreement with the
Sure.
Alliance Church.
okay,
In the resolution, I noticed that the county shall pay $160 for said lease. That is incorrect. It should be $80. I think I got confused because there were gonna be two polling
Mhm.
spots in the
Yes.
Union area that we would pay them. So that would need to be changed. But I just need you guys to look over, you need to see the lease agreement. Oh, I had the solicitor look at it.
actually, it's
These are
attached,
the-
it's attached to
Okay.
our,
It's here.
this is the one again with First Alliance.
Yes, sir.
Yes. No, it's attached to our
Okay, very good.
proposed resolution.
So, yeah, I just need you guys to agree on to the lease and then I can get things rolling with sending out cards and everything.
Well, thank you. Let me see if Commissioner Spielvogel has any questions.
No, all good.
And I assume your board voted 2-0 to do this?
That's correct, yes.
At their public meeting earlier today.
Yes, sir.
Very good. This would be 97, proposed resolution 97. We'll note the correction, the $160 figure on, under item 3 would be changed to $80. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I will second. Any other comments or questions? Do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now, so we do have a proposed resolution for the Union Township site, but you're telling us the contract's in place, it doesn't necessitate any action on our part today, is
No,
that
sir.
right? Okay, so I guess we would
Okay.
just withdraw this proposed resolution. No need to take any action,
Okay.
and we'll just move over it.
Okay,
Okay.
very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Have a
Appreciate
good
it.
day.
You too, sir. You know, it's a joke, but we comment that all we're allowed to say to Tim and his staff is
Yes.
good morning.
Good
That's about all
morning.
we're allowed to-
goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye, that's all we're allowed to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well, planning, Amy, if you'd want to come up, because item 4 does involve the planning commission, it does say boards. And we have by the way, I think you all know Amy McKinney, who is our county planning and community development director. Amy, I'll let you discuss the fact that the state law does permit the county, as it relates to the planning commission, which is a 9-member commission, all volunteers from around the county, that you are permitted, we are permitted to have alternates on the commission. And you're recommending that we do that. I'll turn it over to you for your briefing on this, please.
Sure, so the county has a planning commission where all 9 members are appointed, by the county commissioners. That's a requirement of the law. But recently, a couple years ago, the MPC, the Municipalities Planning Code, was amended to allow for us to appoint alternates as well. Which you all know, things come up in meetings and we need to have a quorum. And it's always good to have that alternate, on hand so that if we need to have someone make a quorum, we're able to still do business. That helps not only the county, but it helps our local municipalities that we are assisting and reviewing their plans for, because they're required by law to send it to us. We're required by law to review it and act on it. If we don't have a quorum, we can't do that. So it holds everything up and it doesn't give us the opportunity to provide comments that a lot of our municipalities really wait on and, look at when they're approving their plan. So we're allowed to do 2 alternates. We've had alternates in the past, but what has happened is, we had an alternate and then we had somebody had to step off the board, so they moved into their place. And that just happened recently with Cindy Morvino. She was an alternate. Then we had a member step down and she is now a member of the planning commission. So IGA was invited to attend our meetings by both Loretta and Dan, and she has been attending regularly for the past
Yes.
4 months. And we had asked her, and she would like to be an alternate on the planning commission. So she's able to attend the meetings when she can, every month if she wants. And she's allowed to participate in the, conversation. She just doesn't vote. She will only vote if we need her. So a voting member to make the quorum, so. Sorry.
Well, thank you. The person that Amy is referencing is a resident of the city of Newcastle. Her name is Hygeia Moss Eggleston. And Ms. Moss Eggleston is in the banking industry. She is currently a vice president and relationship manager with First National Bank. And according to her business card, her office is based in Pittsburgh, but from what I understand, she travels around the western part of the state quite frequently. And as you noted, she's been attending the planning commission meetings.
Yeah.
Debbie had to step out, but I made a copy of Hygeia's business card for Debbie. Let me see if Loretta has any questions or comments.
No, I've been at the meetings where she has been, and she's definitely interested in participating and doing some work for the county. Yeah, very good. Happy to vote yes.
And that is what proposed resolution 97 does. It would appoint Hygeia Moss Eggleston.
It'll be number 98, yeah.
I'm sorry,
It's okay.
I got sidetracked. Thank you, Vanessa. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Again, she is a resident of the city of Newcastle, and action we would take would appoint her as an alternate member of the Lawrence County Planning Commission. So with that, may I have a motion to do that, please?
So moved.
I will second. Any other comments or discussion? We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. And you'll notify Hygeia that
I
we've
will, I'll send you
yes.
this.
taken the action,
Yep.
and we look forward to, I think she's gonna bring a lot, she already has brought a lot to
Yeah.
the table.
Yeah,
She's
thank
gonna
you.
bring even more, so
Yeah,
thank you very
absolutely.
much. Amy, you have a number of items to bring to our attention, so we'll start with proposed resolution 99, and that involves our landscaping and or the maintenance and care of our county-owned parks and boat launches. You're proposing a contract with a local firm to do that. I'll let you
So
fill us
this
in.
this would be an agreement between the county and Pyatt Landscaping for an amount not to exceed $64,190. This is for the mowing of all the county-owned parks, garbage pickup, also, I think there's been times where we've had trees down on Savage and Jack's gone out there and helped, cut. It's kind of our eyes and ears of all of our parks and our boat launches. But yeah, Savage, West Park, Quaker Falls, and then the boat launches that are in the county. It'll start April 1st and go through October. But in the off months, you know, if we ever need Jack, we're always able to call him as well too. We did bid this out, and Piatt's was the low bidder, so.
They're based in Taylor Township, if I'm not mistaken. Their company is based on the West, or located on the West Pittsburgh Road. Is Beziki Park in Wayne Township included? Do they do the maintenance of that?
It has not been, no.
Okay,
It's always been Quakers, Quaker Falls, Stavage, West Park, and then the boat launches.
okay. I think, maintenance must have
Maintenance.
lined somebody up to do that.
Yeah,
I think it's been
maintenance
taken care of, but not by these folks. Okay, thank you for, clarifying that.
And I think the reason behind that too, Cam, was because of the equipment that's needed for, well, one of the reasons, the equipment that's needed for Quaker and Stavage is something that Jack's company has, where Azizi Park was just, you know, push mowers,
Right.
and mowers, and, bridge crews usually can do that.
Okay, thank you. Loretta, do you have questions or
No,
comments?
I do not.
You're willing to move forward and make a motion now for number 99?
Sure, I will make that motion.
I will second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Moving along to proposed resolution 100, and it looks like, I think this one, is this CDBG? Yes, it is.
This one is CDBG, yes. Yeah, this is CDBG fiscal year 2020. We are doing a modification. And what a modification is, basically we're either decreasing a project or deleting and adding a new activity, an activity that we've never done in that fiscal year. So for fiscal year 2020, Elwood City had a street improvement project that came in under $6,296.05 to be exact. So we don't want to give that money back, but it's such a small amount.
Bless you.
And we can't put it towards admin because we've already bought our admin from them. We are gonna put it into some rehab. Lawrence County Community Action Partnership is able to use that to max some other funds. So we are creating a new activity of housing rehab for $6,296.05. This required a public hearing, and that public hearing was held on March 15th at 8 a.m. here in the Commissioners' meeting room. And we did not have anybody attend, but it was advertised in the paper as well. So once this resolution is passed and you sign off on the documentation, we can send it to our grant manager to hopefully have him approve it as soon as possible.
And as you noted, these dollars stay within the borough of
Yes,
Elwood
it
City.
has to, yep,
And I assume their borough council is
Yes.
aware of this?
yep, they're aware, it's the county's contract, but then, yeah, so the county has the approval of it, but they're,
And the
with
borough?
a small amount, yeah.
About the borough manager?
Yes,
He-
Kevin,
okay,
yeah.
Mr.
We talked
Swager,
with him a couple months ago about it.
thank you. Questions?
No.
Okay, you're recommending that we move forward on this. That being said, I'll entertain a motion for proposed resolution 100.
So moved.
I'll second. Any other comments or questions?
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Amy, I think we have a little more discussion
Yeah.
about Elwood City Borough. This is proposed resolution 101. I'll let you fill us in.
So this is another modification, but this is under their CDBG CD1. This is the first pot of COVID money that came out in April of 2020. The Elwood City Borough originally planned on doing an economic development small business grant, and that fell through. So they transferred it over to our TEAMS program, the Temporary Emergency Assistance Through Meals program. But we're at the end of our contract. I mean, when I say we're at the end of our contract, we just had this money spent by May of this year. So Jen Elliott and her staff have kind of done looked out to see if we'd be able to spend it all in the TEAMS program, but we can't. So we don't want to give any money back. So we're modifying this. They have a job that's right around $16,000 and they can use it for rehab. That's an eligible project under the CD program. So we'd be decreasing the TEAMS program and adding a new activity in housing rehab for $16,000. And we did the public meeting, a public hearing, we advertised it, and the borough is aware as well.
Thank you. Loretta, questions
No.
for Amy? All
I don't
right.
know, I'll just comment, I don't know how she keeps them all straight.
You should see me trying to put these modifications together. Making sure all my numbers are matching, but we call staff over and say, help.
We greatly appreciate it. I would entertain a motion for approval of proposed resolution 101.
So moved.
Second, any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Amy, I believe you have before us proposed resolution 102 involving, once again, down in Elwood City Borough, the facade program that they have established.
So the county applied for a DCD, Keystone Communities Program, for Elwood City's facade improvement. We received $50,000. So I've been working with the borough the past couple of months, and they have the program up and running, and we are accepting applications. I have 3 businesses that have applied that are eligible, had all their ducks in a row, presented it to Elwood City, their steering committee, their facade steering committee. They've approved the applications. And so now it's before you, because the agreement needs to be between the county and the business owners, because the contract with DCD is between the county and DCD. There are 3 businesses so far, Cozy's by Patty, Grandpa's Pet Salon, and Fox and Fox attorneys. Yeah, Greg Fox. So Cozy's by Patty is doing some work to their brick masonry. Grand Pet Salons is doing some lighting and signage and painting, and then Attorney Fox is putting new windows in. Each applicant is eligible for a maximum of $5,000, but they can go less if they want to. So Grandpa's and Cozy's by Patty each requested and are eligible for $5,000. They are matching it dollar for dollar. So their total project cost is at least $10,000, probably more, but we can give them 5. But Attorney Fox is, his total project cost is only around $4,000, so we can give him $2,000. So the agreements with Cozy by Patty and Grand Pet Salons is for $5,000, and Attorney Fox is $2,000. Vanessa has all the agreements for you guys to sign off on as well.
Thank you for that. Now, I'm noting, though, the way the resolution is worded, it only references the one company, Cozy's by Patty. The other 2 companies are not mentioned in at least the resolution I have in front of me.
The one I have is, it was very generic. Eligible applicants can apply into the $5,000. Oh, yeah, I do see it. I'll change it. Yeah, so it's just gonna be very general, and then we'll be coming to you again, and so I'll just attach the
Every time
businesses. That was my fault.
Well, no, that's okay. Is your preference that we still include all 3 businesses in this resolution?
Yeah, the resolution, I thought I must have just typed up too fast. I was trying to get it on so for the agenda. It just needs to be very generic, because I'll be coming back to you again, like the small business agreements I did before, and then I would just
Just the
attach the
attached
list of
list.
businesses behind.
Okay.
So, the county has received, the county has received applications from the attached businesses.
Great.
Well, it does say that in here. Again, we don't have, for the record, we don't have in print at least the other 2 company names in front of us. We have,
I gave you.
Yeah, I have the list. I just didn't,
all right.
I must not have attached it to your list.
Are you asking us to amend this to include all 3?
Yes, please.
You'd like for us to do that today? Are you willing to do that?
Yes, no problem.
All right,
I think
so,
that's easiest for today, and then
Yeah, that's.
as we move forward, just as per attached.
as noted, you have
Yes.
those
Yeah.
documents for all 3.
Yeah.
For the purpose of the resolution, since the resolution has the one company, I'm suggesting then that we include the other
The other
2
two.
companies.
Yes.
Can you tell us their names again,
Sure.
please?
Grand Paws Pet Salon,
Grandpa's Pet Salon,
Fox and Fox PC.
thank you. Loretta, are you agreeable to adding those 2 company names to the
Yes.
proposed resolution with the understanding that all the documentation is in order? Okay,
No problem.
you okay with that?
Thank you, sorry about that.
That's all right. No, this is proposed resolution 102 that will have all 3 names of the companies that have qualified for participation in this program. Cozy's by Patty, Grandpa's Pet Salon, and Fox PC. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Any further discussion? We'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Before you step down, didn't know if either maybe Loretta wanted to mention this or you want to mention it, whatever your preference is. This involves the study that we're undertaking as a county for broadband expansion. We've all been to the meetings, but whoever would like to talk about it.
Go ahead, Amy.
Right now, we're trying to get, because with the county, the commissioners allocated funding to do a broadband study. We're working with Michael Baker. We have a broadband task force that's been created. But right now, we have a survey that's out, on our website for the broadband study, linkuplawrence.com. So we are trying to help get the word out for people to
Yes.
go online and do
Do
the
the
survey.
survey.
If you cannot access it and you want a paper copy of the survey, we can mail it to you, we can let you know where there's copies for you to pick it up. But it's really important to help get the word out and for people to go online, preferably from your home computer, because we are trying to define where our served, underserved, and unserved areas are of the county, so we can get broadband to those areas, so.
Amy, thank you. Do you have anything to add to that?
No, I do not.
Debbie, what I'll do, Amy gave us a one-page document. I'll include this in the,
I have a press release, and a
Okay.
list of all of the members of the committee now, so I'll put that all together.
oh, great. Thank you.
Yes.
You had stepped out, but going back a few steps, the appointment we made to the Planning Commission, I have her contact information. I'll include it in this for you. Amy, do you have anything else for us today?
I have a budget analysis on here.
Okay, okay. Amy,
Thank
thanks
you.
as always.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Greatly
Thank you.
appreciate it. Moving on. Proposed Resolution 103. This involves our Public Safety Department. And Mr. Strobel is with us. Chad, good morning.
Good morning.
Chad Strobel is our Director of Public Safety. It's always a pleasure to have you here. What are we discussing today, Mr. Strobel?
This is an amendment to our service upgrade agreement contract with Motorola Solutions. It covers our 9-county radio system. We've added a couple of services that'll be provided over the next 10 years with an obvious additional cost. However, that money comes from our state funding for the surcharge on telephone lines. So we're just amending the contract. I sent it down to Attorney Medora for review. He was okay with the changes in the contract. We're just trying to amend it here today.
You answered my question. Did the solicitor review it? And the answer is yes. Thank you.
That's what we need,
Commissioner Spielvogel?
nothing else.
Before we move forward, I want to take just a moment to express, and I'm sure I speak for Loretta, our appreciation, most recently, to you and your staff with the good work that they did on Saturday with the windstorm that came through. You kept us informed as to what was transpiring. You had, I think, over 600 calls at the 911 center in about a 5-hour period, or help me with that.
Yeah, probably 5 o'clock till 10 o'clock when I left. There'd been around 600 calls, and
Okay.
there was more.
Yeah,
As
that came
people
in
came out,
afterwards,
did
sure.
repeat calls and throughout the day. So.
Well, we appreciate your staff's diligence. To your knowledge, even though there was some damage around the county and some power outages, you're not aware of anybody being hurt.
No reported injuries. There were some trees down on cars, but those were unoccupied in driveways. But no injuries directly resulting from the storm.
Thank goodness. Our friends in Mercer County, at the Mercer County Courthouse, there is a beautiful Civil War monument that's been there for probably over 100 years. And midway up, it's got a couple statues of soldiers. And one of those soldiers actually, granite, it actually blew over and fell to the ground. Shows how powerful the wind was on Saturday. I also want to thank you for all that you've been doing as it relates to the train derailment over in Ohio, the interaction you've had with your fellow emergency responders and the local officials. You've put a lot of time and effort into it. It has not gone unnoticed by us, so thank you very much for all that you do, Chad.
Everything,
Loretta?
ditto. unbelievable, just the year that you've had so far,
Yeah.
honestly. So to the best of your knowledge, all power has been restored?
There's
No.
200
No.
people still in the county.
Two of them are here.
Yeah, there's a few in
Wow.
Mechanic, small
Okay.
amount in Mechanic, small in Wilmington, Wayne, Perry Township have a
Okay.
few each, so they're scattered about, but there's still, I believe the last I checked, it was about 215 people.
Okay.
We supply generators, we moved some generators out there for the Shannon Township for oxygen concentrators and stuff along those lines. We were in touch with Mahoning, they were possibly going to use water buffaloes for not potable water, for flushing toilets and stuff along those lines. They ended up not needing them, so we've been in contact, and so far everybody seems to be holding their own as far as what we can offer as far as resources.
Okay.
Thank
Thank you.
Ken. Getting back to proposed resolution 103, you're recommending we take action?
Yes, this will extend our contract out through the year 2033, keep our radio system up to date and current functioning, and work among the 9 counties. So yes.
Very good, thank you. I'll entertain a motion for that, please.
So moved.
I will second. Any further discussion or questions?
Just like I said with Amy, same thing with Chad. I don't know how you keep all of the different contracts separated without making yourself crazy. You know which one goes where.
I'm afraid.
Thank you. But this is true. We won't tell her that. Thank you.
We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you. Chad, thank you much.
Thank you,
To move
Chad.
along, we understand.
Yeah, your
Yes.
meeting started a few minutes ago, so
Oh,
thanks.
thank you, Chad. Have a good day. Take care.
You too.
The next item on the agenda would be proposed resolution 104. The county has received correspondence from the borough manager down in Elwood City. It reads as follows. The borough of Elwood City is asking Lawrence County to exonerate taxes and fees owed on property located at 1127 Center Avenue in Elwood City Borough for the years 2019, 2020, and 2021. The borough acquired this property in October of 2021, demolished the dilapidated structure on it, and sold it in July of 2022 to an adjoining property owner. It is now back on the tax rolls. And this is signed by Kevin Swagger, the borough manager. Amy, not to put you on the spot, the demolition of that structure, do you know if our redevelopment
What's the
authority?
address? Do you know?
1127 Center Avenue.
That was our project.
We played a role in that?
Yeah, we reimbursed them for the demolition of it, yeah.
We being the county's redevelopment authority.
Sorry, the redevelopment authority, I'll change my hat. Yes, with the redevelopment authority, it reimbursed them once the work was completed, so yes.
Thank you. And as the letter notes, the property is on the tax rolls now. The borough's asking for that exoneration dating back to 19, 20, and 21. This has been reviewed by our solicitor, and he has recommended that we agree to the request of the borough. So resolution 104 does that. Loretta, let me see if you have any questions or concerns.
I do not.
Thank you. Amy, from where you sit, everything is okay, good, thank you. I'll entertain a motion for resolution 104, please.
So moved.
Second, further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. The next item on the agenda is resolution 105. I will note that state law permits counties to enact what is known as a local affordable housing fund. And the dollars that go into that fund are levied through the Register and Recorder's Office through the recording of fees and mortgages. And in the past, the dollars that we've raised, that have been raised in that account, have gone for a number of excellent groups within the county we've been able to fund, including an organization down in the southern end of the county, the Carpenters Project. And they are a non-denominational intergenerational program that assists homeowners in the southern end of the county with repairs that they might not be able to complete themselves. There's no charge to the homeowners and no requirements for the homeowners to provide financial information. We have a sufficient balance in this fund that allows us to honor the request of the Carpenters Project. We've done this for a number of years. And this proposed resolution would allocate $15,000 to them. Let me see if you have any thoughts.
I know we've allocated money to them before and they do very good work. So glad to do it again.
It's usually in the summer months,
Yes.
if I recall correctly. I should note too that another organization that we've traditionally given dollars to from this fund is what was known as the Eastbrook Mission Barn when they were located in Hickory Township. They recently moved to Shenango Township
Yes.
and they are now known as the Mission Barn. And they build ramps, among other things. They build ramps for people that have physical limitations that might not permit them to climb steps. And they just moved into a nice facility out on the New Butler Road in Shenango. It's an old Praxair facility out there. They just had an open house on Sunday that was very well attended. And they are asking, and we've supported them in the past. We have a letter on file. We'll have to look it over, and perhaps in the next week or two, we might be able to honor their request as well. But today, we're able to approve the $15,000 for the Carpenters Project, if you're willing to make a motion.
Yes. So moved.
Thank you. I will second and see if you have any other comments or questions. Thank you. We'll do a roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. We have a number of budget amendments this morning. The first, this would be Resolution 106. This applies to the Information Technology Department, if I'm reading this correctly, and Joe, correct me if I'm wrong. This involves the Horizon contract that we've entered into. And if I'm reading this correctly, we are taking $108,800 that was in the prior year balance for the capital expenditure revenue account. And we're applying those dollars to the Information Technology Department's other improvements line item, again, for the remainder of the Horizon contract. Have I left anything out?
No, I think you wrote it, handled it perfectly.
Okay. Loretta, do you have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, just to add that it's just a continuation of the immense undertaking of redoing our entire IT systems here at the courthouse. So it's something that has been needed to be done, and I give our IT director, Bill, and Eric both kudos for doing everything that they're doing to go start from scratch and work through all of this. It's amazing what's being done, but just knowing that it's a continuation for the last year or so.
Thank you. Would you be willing to make a motion for Resolution 106?
I will.
Thank you
So
very
moved.
much. I will second. If there is no other discussion, we'll ask Vanessa to call the roll, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. The next item is the TTP grant general revenue account. This would increase that line item by $164,238, and then it would earmark of that money the line item for salaries, the line item for FICA, and the line item for workers' comp. Again, this is the TTP grant. Do either of you have anything to add to that? Okay. This would be proposed, again, this is a budget amendment,
Right.
basically moving money to accommodate the needs here, and this is Resolution 107. May I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes,
Motion carries.
thank you. Proposed Resolution 108. And Amy, you don't have to come up, but this is Community Development Block Grant. This is a small transfer taking $1,367.61 from the CDBG revenue account line item and applying that to the 2019 expense line item. Anything we've overlooked?
No.
Okay, thank you. Loretta, questions?
No questions.
Amy's here? Okay. Joe, anything on your end?
No.
All righty. This is proposed resolution 108. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I will second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Proposed resolution 109. This is, these are transfers, I believe, if I'm reading this correctly, for the rental on the storage at the underground mines.
That's correct.
I have that right?
Yes.
Okay, and what we're doing here is we're taking $9,012.37 from the commissioner's contingency to allow us to access those accounts that are in storage. This would be applicable to the commissioner's office, the solicitor, voter services, the treasurer, tax claim, planning, personnel, or HR, contracted, CONTBL. Controller, okay, I apologize. It was abbreviated and I wasn't thinking fast enough. Loretta, any questions?
No, just a comment that these are, hopefully we're continuing to have our departments
We're
go down and,
Yeah,
okay,
we're downsizing it, but,
yes,
with what we can,
right,
you know. there's
Some records have to
some
stay,
records
but-
have to stay.
yes. No, that was just a clarification on that.
Thank you.
Sure.
This is resolution 109. Could I have a motion?
So
please?
moved.
I will second. Any further comments or discussion? If not, a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next proposed resolution 110 would be a transfer of, I believe that says $3,900. Am I reading that?
That's correct.
Mhm.
And a little background on it. At the end of last year, tax claim had come to us about purchasing a new safe. Theirs was very, very old. And it was approved that towards the end of the year, they had made the first payment. This is for the second and final payment for the purchase of the safe.
Thank you, Joe. This comes from the Commissioner's contingency into tax claims minor equipment line item. Loretta, questions or concerns?
No questions.
Would you be willing to make a motion?
So moved.
I will second. Any other discussion? We'll ask for a roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And then proposed resolution 111. This goes back to our, it says IT switches, which I'm assuming means the IT department.
Yes.
We are, as part of the upgrades, we've been able to utilize some American Rescue Plan dollars, and this would transfer $42,005 over to the IT department to continue with, it says specifically IT switches. And Joe, anything to add to that?
No, they were just needed to finish their project.
Okay.
And the price went up drastically
Yes.
since the initial, and that was part of the problem.
Understood. Everybody's experiencing that.
Right.
Loretta, do you have any concerns?
No,
questions?
no.
Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
I'll second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes?
Motion carries.
Thank you, Vanessa. We have 4 transfers that have been requested of us. Children and Youth Services is asking for a $1,000 transfer from the purchase services line item into foster parent training line item. District Judge Russo is asking for a transfer of $1,743 from their contingency to that of materials and supplies. And that's for the purchase of window blinds for their front office. And I can appreciate the need for that. That window
Right.
faces west. And in the afternoon, that sun just beats down on those folks. So the need for blinds is certainly obvious there. Under the courts, they are asking for a $10,157.32 transfer from their contingency to that of materials and supplies, the purpose being the funds are needed for a courtroom display screen. The sheriff's office is asking for a $15,000 transfer from his line item of salary of staff into part-time temporary staff. He's indicating a need to transfer the funds from the full-time to the part-time to cover a new part-time civil processor position. And that action had been taken by salary board a few weeks ago. So this is a follow-up to that. Loretta, do you have any questions on any of these?
No.
would you be willing to make a motion to approve all four?
So moved.
Thank you. I will second and ask Vanessa to call the roll.
Commissioner Steelvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda would involve a proposed resolution from last year that has been on the table. And today it's on here to possibly take it off the table. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but you sit on the board and
Right.
wanted to see if you, and we received some comments earlier in the meeting.
Absolutely.
Wanted to see if you
Mhm.
had comments and what your wishes might be.
And I wouldn't have any problem taking it off the table and voting on it. I still think that, with the changes that are being made and things that are going on, I still feel confident in the ability of the organization to do the things that we needed to do at a county fiscal level. Hearing the voices of the two supervisors that are here, and I'm thrilled to death that you're here, because if we don't hear from you, we don't know. So on both issues, even with the next one coming up, I am glad to have it for discussion. So I wouldn't care either way, but if it's better to keep it tabled and have more discussion with, I know, Leslie, we've had numerous conversations about more openness and more accessibility, and I couldn't agree with you more. I don't want, if we move forward with it, I don't want you to think that it's something that would be being ignored to move forward with it. And what this motion is doing is just reiterating that they are our Economic Development Corporation, because they are. This is just to reiterate that to bring that ordinance or to bring that resolution up to date.
The proposal, as I understood it, does just that, but there were
Right.
some amendments that were proposed along with it.
Right.
And I guess what our role here today would be, either leave it on the table for further consideration. The fact remains, and you said it,
Right.
we already have on the books
Right.
from many years ago, a resolution designating the LCEDC/Forward Lawrence as the county's economic development agency. But again, you're on that board.
Yes.
I don't mean to
Yes.
put you on the
Let's
spot.
just keep it tabled
Okay.
and have further discussion and move forward from there. And also, as well as with you, Dan. Yes, getting people out there. And I will take part of the blame for that, because that was my tour that was supposed to be happening, visiting the townships, and we'll get out there and we'll hear you. Yeah, I like that. I like being here and having the discourse and talking about it, because sometimes those things pass us by, and until it's brought to our attention again, it just sits there. So thank you both. Yes.
Well, and the organization is going through quite a significant transition. It has been and will continue to be. And I
Yes.
know you're in numerous meetings
Right.
involved in
Right.
that, even as recently as this morning, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So I agree. I appreciate.
Well, I
the input.
deferred to the meeting this morning, just for the record. I wasn't there this morning. I was here this morning
Oh, I'm
doing something
sorry.
else. Nope, that's okay.
I just-
But it usually is a Tuesday morning. Yes, 8:30 at Economic Development.
Thank you for
Yes.
clarifying.
No
Okay,
problem. Yeah,
I'm
let's
willing
leave
to
that,
agree
let's
and-
leave that on the table.
okay, that's fine with me. The next item under ordinances would be a proposal to rescind ordinance 4 of 2020, which, as was noted earlier, the Commonwealth a number of years ago gave counties the authority to levy a $5 fee for each non-exempt vehicle registered to an address located within the borders of the county. And as Mr. Kennedy noted, 27 counties around the Commonwealth have done that, including Lawrence. 40 have chosen not to. The majority have not implemented this fee. When it was introduced back in 2020, I voted against it. I felt that in some respects it was redundant. I will note that every city, borough, and township and county in the Commonwealth already receives liquid fuel dollars. And the county actually receives a number of funding streams that come from liquid fuels. Now, we're in a position where, as we've said many, many times, the County of Lawrence does not own or maintain any streets, roads, highways at all. We do have 27 bridges that we're responsible for in terms of the maintenance, upkeep, repair, and sometimes replacement of those bridges. And that's what the bulk of the liquid fuel dollars that we get are utilized for, the bridges for which we are responsible. In most years, for many years, for decades, at least back to the 1950s, County of Lawrence, when they have been able to, has taken whatever is left over in their liquid fuel allocation. Once they are satisfied that there is enough money available to take care of the county-owned bridges, when there have been dollars left over, we have then distributed those dollars to the cities, boroughs, and the city, the boroughs, and the townships, at least to those who have applied for it. We've had a couple municipalities that have chosen not to ever accept liquid fuel dollars. Others come to the table every year, and that's a good thing, because that's what it's there for. I was of the opinion that at the time that the additional $5 was not necessary, given the fact that our role as commissioners for bridges, which is our responsibility, we were in a position that those responsibilities were being met. And again, we were still able, in most years, to allocate additional dollars to the municipalities, who are already getting liquid fuel dollars. Now, I was outvoted when that took place. That happens. The majority rules. I will say I'm the person that has brought this to the table today, because in my travels, I have received a lot of complaints about this fee. People feel that it's an unnecessary burden. They're already paying for vehicle registration. And this just adds to it. So I'm of the opinion that it needs to go, that there will still be dollars available for the municipalities in years that we're able to do that. And whether it be for their roads or for their bridges, because there is a separate funding stream that comes in specifically for bridges. And out of respect for my two friends who are here, we've utilized those dollars to help both of your municipalities. Although ironically, if I'm not mistaken, in Neshannock, the township owns one bridge on Graceland Road. What's the second one?
Clover.
Oh, I forgot about Clover. That's right, excuse me. Old Route 8, Old
Because
18.
you helped with that bridge as
Yes,
well.
yes.
And now we're in the process of Graceland Road.
Right.
And we're accumulating our payments that we'll submit for the funding that we applied for that as well. And that's under the Act 13.
Yes.
Yes.
And now, obviously, Wilmington Township has more bridges, but we've helped. I mean, Means Road.
I have one.
well,
I have the rest are culverts.
Oh, okay.
But realistically, we have one bridge that gets inspected
I see.
every other year from PennDOT. But
I thought you had more than that.
they were, what we could say, homemade bridges years ago.
Yeah.
That were deteriorating, and we put in aluminum culverts that will last way past we're gone from here. And that's what we replaced them with Taylor Engineering. The friends there helping us, steering us in the right direction.
Yeah, they're our county engineer, and they do great work. I mean, I will do a little boasting. Our county bridges are in good shape. That's our responsibility. The most recent one we did was in Wilmington Township,
Right.
the Banks Covered Bridge. It was a county-owned bridge. But, well, I would have thought, and I guess it makes sense that, of course, 956 and 208 and
They're all state.
18 are all state bridges that the state takes care of. But I like Loretta said, I appreciate that you're both here. I
Right.
appreciate that this did bring in some additional dollars, but I want to make it clear that going forward, of course, I may not be here next year, but going forward, if I am, and if we have the dollars, we'll continue to distribute them. But I just feel this is a redundant tax on people who, quite frankly, are already taxed pretty heavily in many different respects. With that, I'll see what, and procedurally, this is not going to be voted on today. This is a proposed ordinance rescinding an older ordinance. What we have to do is advertise it. All we're doing today is taking action to advertise the proposed ordinance. It is displayed, it'll go in later this week if we so choose. And refresh my memory, it has to, we'll bring it back.
It'll be advertised later this week as number 1 ordinance of 2023.
Yeah.
And then it will be brought to the board on the April 4th meeting for introduction. It'll be tabled, and then you will vote on it at the April 11th meeting.
Okay. So the legal ad still has to go in, assuming we take the action to do that. That's all we're doing today. We're not rescinding the older ordinance today. Leslie?
I know I'm not supposed to comment at
You're
this
fine.
point, but just one thing about it. So last year, that was probably the year that it hit us the hardest. We had estimates from Frank Taylor Engineering, advising us what our costs were gonna be. And the prices came in at around, the estimates came in around $400 and some thousand. But when the bids came in at $700 and some $1,000. That was when we really needed and utilized the money from the county, because the cost of the pavement, the blacktop was up by 40%. And that's one of the problems that we're seeing again this year. So, for us to do the amount of roads that we needed to do, that were in deplorable condition, and then we had some, August 5th, we had some terrible storms that affected some culverts and roadways. There were some collapses, and we know we needed to do those. Plus, we've already applied for 2. They were due by December 31st. Those funds from you already for liquid fuels, and have been approved for those. It's just a concern that, that money, when I think of $5 and I divide it out over a year, it doesn't, I probably spend more at Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts on a daily basis than I do on that. And probably the average citizen isn't looking at it like that, but because I've worked with the township for so long and know what the costs are to maintain the roads, it's such a small stipend out of your budget in a year to, when you think a lot of that money goes to all the municipalities and the city, I think that it's I think it was a positive thing. I hear you when you say it's you're taxing people on top of the taxation. But it was, it's hard to come up with other forms of revenue to do these types of things. And so I thought, I'll be honest with you, I thought it was, once I understood it and knew what it was going to do for our municipalities, I thought it was a brilliant idea. So kudos to the board for putting it in place and assisting all of our communities. So that's all I have to say.
Forgive me just 1 minute. Gentlemen, did you have I apologize, did you have something on the agenda for today?
No, Commissioner.
Did you, nothing for us to vote on?
No, Commissioner.
Okay. Do you need to see us after the meeting? I
They're
see.
not here to watch the meeting, Dan.
Okay. All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy.
He heard there were dollars
Can I just add
available too.
to what Leslie said? One thing, and I'm a rookie compared to her. I've been here 3.5 years. But I've watched our liquid fuel money go this way, not go up. And with the way the world's going right now, with people driving less, gas prices higher, and electric cars, it's going to dwindle even more. So this, you think $5 is $5. It is. In the world today, it is $5. It could get you a gallon of gas to get you somewhere. But the big thing is you're going to hit a pothole on the way because we don't have the money to fix the road. And that's what it comes down to. Our liquid fuel money is going the other way, not the way it needs to go.
My recollection as a former supervisor, though, is that you are permitted to use your real estate tax dollars towards paving costs or wage tax dollars.
We do.
But I realize your wage tax is capped at a 1% figure, if I'm not
Yes.
mistaken.
And we added we actually added onto the local services tax to collect that. But you have to remember, we have a police department to maintain. You have your fire tax, which is out there. Those are actual special funds. You can't really touch those. And then we have a park that we maintain and an ice rink, which we've applied for grants to be able to. And then you have your salaries. So,
Sure.
you know, obviously, our road budget is probably around, it's close to $1 million, about 900,000 between the state, the liquid fuels money and the general fund. But, you know, if we don't have additional funds, we'd be raising taxes on the general fund side, because that's our only means really to bring in additional revenue. We were fortunate this year, we applied for 2 grants, and because we did receive federal ARPA money, we're using that to do our park improvements. So no money will come out of the general fund for that at all. We were pleased to be able to do that, and but, you know, like I said, in order to make the road budget be where we need it to be, and we have 69 miles of roads to maintain. We do no tarring and chipping anymore. It's all pavement. So it's, you know, almost $1 million in our $4 million budget.
Well, Commissioner Spielvogel, you've been very patient. Do you have
Yes.
comments to make?
Yes, I do. Again, listen, if we're not hearing from people, we can only base our votes and opinions on the people that we do hear from. I voted yes for it. I think that the money that we've used to assist the different municipalities for different things has been positive. But as Dan said, hearing the negative comments, and that's what it has come to me. It's not a flood of phone calls. We don't get a flood of phone calls on things. We just get the comments that are made in public. Maybe once in a while a phone call, I did get them. But I will say to you, I don't want to put you guys on the spot, but Dan, maybe you said League of Municipalities on the 19th. Maybe that's what we need to do, is to take it to the League of Municipalities, where you will have the supervisors that are there. And they represent their constituents, and again, those are our constituents, and bring it to them and just see what the conversation is, and just see how people feel. I know that it has benefited, but at the same time, I know that it has bothered people and it has taken money out of their pockets, and they're concerned about it. So I'm open to discussion on it, and I don't know about you, Dan, but I like the idea of bringing it to the League of Municipalities and moving forward from there. I'm still not, I don't know how it affects moving forward with the ordinance, introducing it. I believe we can still introduce the ordinance and move forward.
Well, refresh us about the time frame. If we introduce the ordinance later this week, if we put the legal ad in later this week, what's the time frame again?
We would still have time. We can't introduce it 60 days prior to voting on, 60 days, and then you have to advertise not less than a week. So
We have
We
a
have
large,
time, yeah.
quite a bit of time to do something, okay. I will say, I never thought it would have been such a hotbed issue, but it is.
Well, I'll also note that since this ordinance took effect, the state gasoline tax has gone up. Turnpike
Yes.
tolls have gone up. The price of gasoline has gone up. Our taxpayers, our consumers have been inundated, and let's face it,
Yes.
we all know what we do at the grocery store these
Right.
days. We take one arm
Right.
and one leg to pay for our groceries. Are you at least
I
willing to
agree.
introduce
Yes.
the proposal?
Yes, absolutely,
Okay.
sure.
With the understanding that based on the time frame, as you're explaining it,
Yes.
because I thought I heard you say earlier that we could vote on it in a couple of weeks,
you can,
but we could also choose to wait
correct.
if we, and plus we'll have a third commissioner.
Right.
And out of
Right.
fairness to Mr. Burek, we need to hear his point of view.
Right.
So are you at least willing to
Yes,
introduce the
I have no
proposed
problem
resolution?
with that, absolutely not. Mhm.
Alrighty. Well, would you wish to make a motion to at least introduce the proposal?
Did you want to ask a question now or wait
Just
till?
a quick question as a taxpayer. I've already paid my registration for this year, so if you enact this, are you gonna refund
We
all
can't.
of us?
There's no
And
retroactivity.
that's
How
what-
is that fair to
I know,
Well,
and that's a question
whenever
that's
you-
out there.
Whenever you draw the line, some people will have paid and some wouldn't, unless, even if you wait till the end of a calendar year, the person on December
Just as much
31st,
of a hardship to people like me as it is to everybody else.
right?
I also believe, Debbie, that this, if it went through the process, introduced, voted on by the commissioners, they agreed to move forward with removing this or rescinding this ordinance. Conversations with PennDOT have led us to believe that it's still gonna be probably 2 to 3 months down the road before, we would see that taken away from the county, before they start sending out the registration notifications with $5 less.
More than half of the people paying.
Yes.
You could make the same argument with turnpike tolls. They raised toll on January 1st. If I went on vacation Christmas week, I didn't pay that higher toll. If I went on vacation January 2nd, I'd pay the higher toll. I mean, there's no, regardless of whenever you end it or start it, some will have paid and some will have not. Unfortunately, you can't get around that. Yes, ma'am.
I don't mean to keep
You're
interrupting,
fine.
but my only thing is whether you remove that or we raise taxes in order to take care of the roads, I just think that you have to look at it, you're benefiting, you really have benefited the entire county with this money. And I don't know if the majority of your residents understand what that money goes for. We've had people say that they just put it in your budget to pay for wages. And I try to explain otherwise, but it's just, how, right now I'm going through a little problem in Shannock about over Dollar General. And unfortunately, no matter how you explain something to somebody, if they have it in their mind that that's how it's being said,
That's what it will be.
you can't change it
Yes.
When
sometimes.
people get their car registration renewals, it plainly says the $5 fee enacted by the county commissioners,
Yes,
even though it was a 2-to-1 vote. It
But
doesn't say that.
but they don't know what it's for.
It doesn't say that it benefits the townships, boroughs, and the state.
Right, right.
Technically, the county itself, we don't
We don't get
benefit from it.
anything from it.
Nothing.
Yeah. And I think they need to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be very helpful if the news would do a
That's
little
our job, yes.
kudo for that,
Okay.
because, I mean,
Maybe
100%
the article
of that
will
money,
clarify things. That's good.
you have given
Okay.
100% of that money to benefit their communities. And, of course, then somebody will say, can't you refund our taxes then? Because that
It's a,
unfortunately they
it's a
don't always
no-win.
understand.
It truly is. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a no-win.
They
yeah,
had,
it's hard.
they had that
it
to
is.
pay for $400,000
Yeah,
from its vehicle registration fee fund back when you did the article with.
it was in the midst of the liquid fuel
Yeah.
money, so the average person isn't going to peruse all the way through that. I agree with Leslie. It's probably the education aspect of it is what
It's not-
people need to know and realize that it is used for that.
What we deal with every day and understand, they don't deal with
Right,
every day.
right.
And so it can be very confusing to people.
I agree. I will
You're making a motion
make the
to
motion to move forward.
advertise the
Yes.
proposed ordinance.
Absolutely.
I will second. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Spielvogel?
Yes.
Commissioner Vogler?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Looking ahead here, thank you all for the input.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Under announcements, we'll note that a week from today, the commissioners will reconvene for a public meeting at 10 a.m. in this room. And more than likely, Commissioner Burek will be joining us. That same day, April 4 at noon, the county's opioid advisory board will meet here. Commissioner Spielvogel chairs that board. That's a public meeting.
Yes.
And then on April 7, which is Good Friday, the courthouse will be closed in observance of Good Friday. Takes us to a final public comment. Are there any other questions or comments that anybody might have? Hearing none. Loretta, closing comments?
I'm good.
Thank you. Appreciate everybody joining us
Thank
today.
you.
And With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
I will second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Debbie, I have
I gotta get back to
packet.
that darn building, so.
How's Joe?
Yes.
He's good. Joe did good.
He called me
As soon as I
the
talk with
recovery.
them.
center.
Yeah.
Which report issue or specifically a